Hi, what's up, everybody? Today we have once again something that's just a little bit different here for you. Instead of going off on like some specific, thing about baseball, this or that or whatever, I want to show you one of my favorite websites to go to get some of the baseball cards of the past. Now, this isn't the only place that I go, but it really is one of the websites that I trust the most. I'll just show it to you here. If you don't know about this already, I'll move this over here to the site so you can see it in all of its glory. This is the Cyber Card Museum. I'll put a link in down below. It's at Card Cyber Museum, cardcybermuseum.com. Easier to say Cyber Card Museum, but whatever. There's a lot of information here about its history and so forth. The way that this works is that you can go ahead and register a free account there as long as you have an email address, and you can view their collection of cards. Each card is scanned at 150 DPI, which is not necessarily all that great, although it was a lot of man hours to go through. What you'll notice here, so what I usually do is I go over to sets and I'll do a search. For some of these sets that are much scarcer or more valuable, say T206, what you'll notice is that the cards are actually reproductions, right? So we'll take a look here at Avatisio, who we just saw in the game that we just watched, and you can see it says their capital reprint. All of these T206 cards will be reprints, but they're good quality reprints, right? And these are cards that you could pretty easily use, for whatever you're trying to put this up for, right? If you're looking instead, let's do a Google search here. So Jack Barry T206. If you go look here on the images, you'll find some cards that you can use. You find stuff from eBay, stuff from PSA, and stuff like that. But there are always some problems. One of the problems that I see with this is that if I'm going to take like a screenshot or something, I've got to worry about, is this straight or not in this holder, in this case, and is this really a good quality photo compared to this, right? You can see that it's similar. The color is probably a little bit more true on that one, whereas this one looks like it's a little bit more faded. But you kind of see what it is that I'm talking about, where the comparison is. This is also a reprint, and this looks like it is a actual card. So you can always find this sort of thing on eBay from time to time. But, you also think, well, I mean, some of these will have some sort of like, thing on front that says like where it comes from or whatever. That's the reason why I tend to use the Card Cyber Museum. And of course, you can see here, good condition, yet $100 or so for the buy it now. I'm not going to go ahead and buy that myself. The coolest thing about the Card Cyber Museum here is the number of sets that they have. So you can go over to sets all, and instead of this, I think you can just click here on baseball. Okay, well, we will just unapply this. There we go. And we can take a look here and see the sets from the oldest to the newest because of what the set titling convention is. Now, there are a lot of sets here that are missing, right? The first thing you'll notice is T205 is missing. You'll notice that like all of the stuff about, 19th century sets are missing. There are tons of the smaller sets that are missing. If you're a fan of like Z-Nuts and cool sets like that, you won't find that here, right? Instead, there tends to be a really big focus on later sets. When we go over here to junk wax era stuff, you can see there's just tons and tons and tons of stuff. If we go to one of my favorite sets, let's say real quick, 1987 Topps, you can click over here and look at it, and everything will be here in its glory. These are all going to be the real cards as opposed to reprints. And if we do a click on Rick Aguilera, we can see pretty clearly that this is the normal base top set. This is not the Tiffany set, which is why the cardboard quality is not so great. But the card looks very, very nice. It looks very, very clean. The scan is of high quality, and it's pretty cool to look at. You can see some of the best sets, the most famous sets in history. We'll just go through some that I know off the top of my head are important. So most famous, of course, is Bowman 1953. Interesting that here's the black and white set. They do have the black and white and color set. Most people think about the color set first. And you can see the entire card collection from this set. I'll tell you right away that cards in this condition are almost certainly reprints. Yes, 1983 reprint right there. Because there's just no way you're going to find a new Bowman card that's that white and that clean. There's no way. From 1953, no, that will not happen. You can also see cool sets like Topps 53 or 53 Topps, stuff like that people don't think about that much. So we'll look over here at Gus Bell. And you can see, right, this is the set that has the facsimile autograph, on the back in front of everything. If you're interested in the history of this stuff, sort of like I am, you can get really into it. You start looking at different sets and you'll see like why tops became so popular, right? You might not know this about 54 tops. I think 55 tops is the same way, but the backs were full color and were like really, really high quality. I think that these are reproductions. If they are, yeah, the reprint thing is probably going to be right here. And I do think that that is a little reprint logo. That's going to be really hard to see because I'm having a hard time seeing it myself. But for cards that are like this, I mean, if it's going to be that clean from this era, it's probably a reprint. But it's still really cool if you're interested in the history of this stuff and, where it comes from and what it looked like back in the old days and things like that. And then, of course, you can also see more recent sets. So let's look at... I'm trying to think of a set I remember. Not 2003 Topps Heritage, probably right around here. Yeah, 2008 Topps Heritage is a set that I recall. Well, they have 2009. And there it is, 2008 Topps Heritage, right? I had a whole bunch of these. And there you go. There's your Heritage set. There are all the cards coming up right away. So if you really want to look at the, what is this, 2008? So the 2007 Arizona Diamondbacks, right? There you go. There's a good photo of them. That's what the card looks like. There's the back. And of course, this is not a reproduction. This is the original. You can find just about everything here. One thing, though, to keep in mind with these sets is that it will have... all of the player, or by default, all of the cards are going to be in alphabetical order. I didn't know 2009 Topps Heritage had 720 cards. Interesting. You can change that if you want. So you can change this to sort, and you can do sort by card number. That way you can see who was number 1, 2, 3, 4, and on and on. And then you can go over to the last page and see who the high prints were, because I have no idea who the high prints are for this 2009 Topps Heritage set that I didn't collect at all. And then, here we go. We have Ken Griffey Jr. when he was back with the Mariners again. So you can look at it, see what the back is like, and on and on. Anyway, it depends sort of, I think, on what kind of baseball fan you are. For some people, I think this would actually be very boring. There are some people out there who are not interested at all in baseball cards. I am very interested in it. I used to collect cards all the time when I was a kid. I grew up during the junk wax era. And so for me, this is kind of like, kid in the candy store type of situation, right? It's fun to go through. I try to limit the time that I spend going on it because otherwise I will spend hours and hours and hours just looking at this stuff, kind of geeking out over it and remembering cards that were famous and things that were worth a lot of money and thinking, wow, I can have a image of this. The images are not of the highest quality, right? This is not high quality to the point where you can easily make like a counterfeit and do all sorts of shady shenanigans. It's only 100, what did they say, 150 DPI, so it's not going to be like the perfect image, but it can come in handy from time to time if you're looking for something to spice up your replay or if you just want to look at photos of old cards. There are other websites you can go to, check out my cards, for example. There are different baseball card encyclopedia type websites out there as well. I've not yet found anything, though, that's quite as comprehensive as this one. I'll also say that we can cover this another day, but if you're really interested in pre-war, pre-World War II, and especially pre-World War I sets, you really need at some point in time to go over to the old Net54 forums. It's amazing that those are still up. They are still up. They have survived all the years, all the controversy, the publication of that book, The Card, and all the media attention that these guys got, and all the allegations of racism and all this other stuff that happened, which honestly, in retrospect, probably was not their fault. It's around. It's still a thing. You can still find stuff on there. There still are a lot of shady operators, of course, in the industry, but you can still find information if you want, and sometimes these guys upload stuff that's really cool that you may have had no idea ever existed. And finally, if you're really interested in baseball cards and you want to know where everybody is and what they're doing, go on to Twitter, of all places to go. If you go onto Twitter, you'll find that there are people on there who spend all day, every day, posting baseball cards at each other, talking about, their newest openings and their newest finds and all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff on there, and you can get some pretty nice quality photos if that's what you're after. Anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll have more, including more of this sort of miscellaneous stuff in the future. Talk to you later. Bye.